Shalom, Boker Tov.
Shalom, Boker Tov.
Shalom, Boker Tov.
Good morning. Okay, today we have an interesting Torah portion. We have been reading in Shemot. We are in chapter 11. In Exodus, chapter 11, we have been reading about the plagues in Egypt and Yahweh bringing his people out of Egypt. So we are going to read here how they're preparing for the final plague. And this is basically the portion that's describing Passover. It's describing Pesach. So that's an interesting part. Let's go ahead and say the blessing to begin, and then we'll begin reading. And hear the Hebrew. So, let's say the blessing to begin. Ready? Baruch Hu et Yahweh HaBarak. Baruch Yahweh
Baruch Yahweh
HaBarak
Hamborah
Leolam
Leolam
Ba'ed.
Ba'ed.
Baruch
Baruch
atah
atah
Yahweh
Yahweh
Eloheinu
Eloheinu
melech
melech
haolam.
haolam.
Asher
Asher
בחרבנו מכל
בקרבנו מכל
חכמים,
חכמים.
ונתן לנו את
ונתן לנו את
תורתו.
תורתו.
ברוך
ברוך
אתה
אתה
יהוה,
יהוה
נותן
נותן
התורה.
התורה. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Let's go ahead and share my screen so you can see what we're looking at. And let me change that to chapter 11. There we go. Okay. Chapter 11, verse 1 and 2. Read, and Yahweh said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mizraim. After that he is going to let you go from here. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, object of silver and object of gold. They were to ask from the Mitzrite for gold and silver. Okay, so we have Sahav for gold. Okay, and Kesef for silver. They had some provisions when they went into the desert. Let's hear 1 and 2 in the Hebrew.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה, עוד נגע אחד אביא על פרעה ועל מצרים, אחרי כן ישלח אתכם מזה, כשלחו כלה, גרש יגרש אתכם מזה. דבר נא באוזני העם, וישאלו איש מאת רעהו ואישה מאת רעותה, כלי כסף וכלי זהב.
Okay. Verse 3. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites, and the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mizraim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants and in the eyes of the people. Verse 3 in the Hebrew.
ויתן אדוני את חן העם בעיני מצרים, גם האיש משה גדול מאוד בארץ מצרים, בעיני עבדי פרעה ובעיני העם.
Okay. And verse 4 and through 6. 4, 5, and 6. And Moshe said, Thus said Yahweh, about midnight I am going out into the midst of Mizraim, and all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Mizraim, such as has never been or ever be again. Let's go ahead and hear those 3 verses in the Hebrew, 4 through 6.
ויאמר משה, כה אמר אדוני, כחצות הלילה אני יוצא בתוך מצרים, ומת כל בכור בארץ מצרים, מבכור פרעה היושב על כסאו, עד בכור השפחה, אשר אחר הריחיים, וכל בכור בהמה. והייתה צעקה גדולה בכל ארץ מצרים, אשר כמוהו לא נהיית, וכמוהו לא תוסיף.
Okay. And verse 7 and 8. But against any of the children of Israel, no dog shall move its tongue against man or against beast, so that you know that Yahweh makes distinction between Mizraim and Israel. And all these servants of yours shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, Get out, you and all the people at your feet. After that I shall go. And he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. Over 7 and 8.
ולכל בני ישראל לא יחרץ כלב לשונו, למי איש ועד בהמה. למען תדעון אשר יפלה אדוני בין מצרים ובין ישראל. וירדו כל עבדיך אלה אלי, וישתחוו לי לאמור, צא אתה וכל העם אשר ברגליך, ואחרי כן אצא. ויצא מעם פרעה בחוריו.
Okay. And the last two verses, 9 and 10. But Yahweh said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you in order to multiply my wonders in the land of Mizraim. And Moshe and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. However, Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. That's the ending of this chapter, chapter 11. Then we'll continue with chapter 12. So 9 and 10.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה, לא ישמע עליכם פרעה, למען רבות מופתי בארץ מצרים. ומשה ואהרון עשו את כל המופתים האלה לפני פרעה, ויחזק אדוני את לב פרעה, ולא שילח את בני ישראל מארצו.
Okay. That's concluding chapter 11. And then we're going to go into chapter 12. Okay. Does anybody have any comments on what we've read so far?
Well, how in the chapters, prior chapters, we were listening to a part where Yahweh calls Pharaoh the old serpent, and how he thought he is the one who made the Nile River, and he is the one that calls the shots, like and they say,
Yeah.
and how Abba, brings his pride all the way down, and even in spite of losing his son and everything, he says he recovers in a way, and then he decides to go after the children of Israel. And all this is part of the doing of the Almighty Yahweh, for he wants to show not just to Pharaoh, but the whole humanity, that he is the one who is in control. He is the creator of everything, and that everything that he says goes. And it's a very, very interesting thing, right? That he says that to the prideful one, he will look at them from afar, but he looks at the humble in heart.
Yep.
That's all.
True. Yeah, no, this plague is gonna be very tremendous, very great. How you said that even the firstborn of the animals, and it's gonna be a great cry throughout the land of Mizraim, such as has never been or ever will be again. Wow, it's a tremendous thing that's about to happen and we're about to read about. So we'll continue with chapter 12. Just half of the. Oh, go ahead.
Janae, just I recall, how it says in the scriptures that Rachel is crying for her sons. Mm-hmm. Rachel represents all the mothers of Israel when they cried for their sons, when they were thrown into the river and eaten by the crocodiles. And in a way, it's like a repayment, how they did all this evil upon the children of Israel. The children the male children who were dead because of the evil um, king or pharaoh who decided that he didn't want them to multiply anymore. So now it's their turn to, to suffer for their firstborn. And also, um, since they consider them slaves and they didn't pay them well, um, barely feed them, then now they are going to see the consequences of not paying to them by giving them the silver and the gold. And do you think that they just gave them the silver and the gold without hesitation, uh, but only in a supernatural way? Is that Abba touched their hearts in a way that they said, yeah, take it, right? And that they leave the nation without slaves, without manpower to work the land, to till the land, to do the things that they didn't want to do, and then also to leave them without the wealth and without the firstborns, so devastated spiritually. And now this brings the fall of the nation of Egypt. This was a very dark time for them.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking of how it said that Moshe was a very great man in the eyes of the Mitzrites. So even if Pharaoh's heart was hardened, the people definitely feared, I think. And we'll see later that it's a mixed multitude that goes out with Moshe. So many of them believed, I think. And how you were mentioning about the punishment that they're going through. And I think we have faith, we have emunah that Yahweh is a just, a perfect judge. And even if we don't understand why something is happening the way it's happening, he has everything perfectly balanced and is bringing about perfect justice ultimately in the end. Okay?
Amen.
So, we can continue with chapter 12. We're not going to read all of chapter 12 because it's very long, but we're going to read half of it so that our Friday portion is not too lengthy. Okay, so let's read in chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. In English, it says, And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon in the land of Mizraim, saying, This month is the beginning of month for you. It is the first month of the year for you. So let's go ahead and hear that in the Hebrew. Here we go.
י"ב ויאמר אדוני אל משה ואל אהרון בארץ מצרים לאמור, החודש הזה לכם ראש חודשים, ראשון הוא לכם לחודשי השנה.
Okay, so we have Rosh, the head, Chodashim, okay, head of the month, head of the year. Okay. So the springtime that they are leaving, that's considered the first month, according to what Yahweh is saying here in the scriptures. So 3 through 4, speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th day of this month, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the beans. According to each man's need, you make your count for the lamb. Let's hear 3 and 4 in the Hebrew.
דברו אל כל עדת ישראל לאמור, בעשור לחודש הזה, ויקחו להם איש שא לבית אבות, יצא לבית, ואם ימעט הבית מהיות מיסה, ולקח הוא ושכנו הקרוב אל ביתו במכסת נפשות, איש לפי אוכלו תחוסו על השה.
Okay. And 5 and 6. So let the lamb be a perfect one, a year-old male. Take it from the sheep or from the goat, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it between the evenings. Okay. So on the 10th day, they pick the perfect lamb or a goat that is 1 year, and they keep it in their house and they observe it for 4 days. Just to make sure that nothing happens to it and make sure that it doesn't have any blemishes. So under observation. Let's hear that in the Hebrew. 5 and 6.
שא תמים זכר בן שנה יהיה לכם, מן הכבשים ומן העזים תיקחו. והיה לכם למשמרת עד 14 יום לחודש הזה, ושחטו אותו כל קהל עדת ישראל בין הערביים.
Okay. And 7 through 8. And they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Okay, so the Passover. And let's hear that in the Hebrew, 7 and 8.
ולקחו מן הדם, ונתנו על שתי המזוזות ועל המשקוף, על הבתים אשר יאכלו אותו בהם. ואכלו את הבשר בלילה הזה, צלי אש ומצות, על מרורים יאכלוהו.
Okay, and maybe you heard a couple of words that are familiar. So, metusot, the doorpost. Right, so you put the blood on the door, on the metusot, on the doorpost. Okay, and that's where we get the mezuzah, right? Because they go from the doorpost. And matzot, so unleavened bread, matzot, it's kind of like matzah. Okay, let's hear 9 and 10. So let's read 9 and 10. So do not eat it raw, referring to the lamb. Do not eat it raw nor boiled at all with water, but roast it in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. Do not leave of it until morning, and what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. Okay, so let's hear 9 and 10 in the Hebrew.
אל תאכלו ממנו נע, ובשל מבושל במים, כי אם צלי אש, ראשו על קרעיו ועל קרבו. ולא תותירו ממנו עד בוקר, והנותר ממנו עד בוקר, באש תשרופו.
So this is not a regular meal, right? This is very symbolic, and it's prepared in a very specific way, and very similar to like an offering on the altar, roasted over fire. It's not, prepared or boiled like a regular dish, and they try to do it, I think, all whole. I think it says not to, with everything in the animal, its head, its legs, and with its entrails. So, let's see. I think it's supposed to be reminiscent like of an offering on the altar. So 11 and 12. And this is how you eat it. Your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And you shall eat it in haste. It is the Passover of Yahweh. And I shall pass through the land of Mizraim on that night, and shall smite all the firstborn of the land of Mizraim, both man and beast. And on all the mighty ones of Mizraim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahweh. Okay, so we were talking about Yahweh being the perfect judge, and we see here how he himself is going to do this plague with his own hand and smite the firstborn. So it is himself who is doing this. And it says that he shall execute judgment. I am Yahweh. So he is the perfect judge, and he knows exactly how he is going through this, going about this plague. So let's hear 11 and 12 in the Hebrew.
וככה תאכלו אותו. מותניכם חגורים, נעליכם ברגליכם, ומקלכם בידכם, ואכלתם אותו בחיפזון. פסח הוא לאדוני. ועברתי בארץ מצרים בלילה הזה, והכיתי כל בכור בארץ מצרים, מאדם ועד בהמה, ובכל אלוהי מצרים אעשה שפטים, אני אדוני.
Okay. And 13 and 14. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I smite the land of Mizraim. And this day shall be to you a remembrance, and you shall observe it as a festival to Yahweh throughout your generations. Observe it as a festival, an everlasting law. Okay, so 13 and 14, and we can hear that in the Hebrew in a moment. And I just like how it says that the blood shall be a sign for you, in the same way that how Yeshua HaMashiach is a sign for us. I believe in his name. And also it says that this is a festival. Go ahead.
No, yes, as you just said, the same sign that Yeshua put, on us, on this house, is this spiritual house. We are marked with his blood, and we don't see it. But in this case, the angel of death, when he passed over the houses, he was able to see that blood, and the houses that didn't have the blood were slain. And in the same manner, when the second death will come, the angel of death is gonna see the sign on our foreheads or on the area where Yeshua has placed that mark for us to be defended, or not to be slain. So it's gonna happen again.
Yeah, that's it mentions in Revelation, right? How there's usually it always refers to like a sign for those who are set apart for Yahweh. So let's go ahead and hear 13 and 14 in the Hebrew. And let me get to the right page. Okay, here we go.
והיה הדם לכם לאות על הבתים אשר אתם שם, וראיתי את הדם, ופסחתי עליכם, ולא יהיה בכם נגף למשחית, בהכותי בארץ מצרים. והיה היום הזה לכם לזיכרון, וחגותם אותו חג לאדוני לדורותיכם, חוקת עולם תחגוהו.
And the other thing I was going to mention here on verse 14, how it says that you shall observe it throughout your generations. It is an everlasting law, so it's supposed to be observed and continued forever, continually. And not because, Yahweh is trying to control us or anything like that, but because it helps us we should always remember, right, about Yahweh's greatness and his wonders and where he brought us from, what he took us out of, right? He took us out of a spiritual Egypt, out of a spiritual slavery, and He brought us to be redeemed. So we should always remember that. And when you do the physical festival where you're actually, participating, and it just helps you to internalize that message and to truly just learn about it, and so you remember it. And it has just a lot of significance and meaning, and that's why we continue to observe it. Not because we're trying to be legalistic or anything like that. So 15 through 16. So 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses. For whoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off from Israel. And on the first day is a set apart gathering, and on the 7th day you have a set apart gathering. No work at all is done on them. Only that which is eaten by every being, that alone is prepared by you. So let's hear 15 and 16 in the Hebrew.
שבעת ימים מצות תאכלו, אך ביום הראשון תשביתו שאור מבתיכם. כי כל אוכל חמץ, ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מישראל, מיום הראשון עד יום השביעי. וביום הראשון מקרא קודש, וביום השביעי מקרא קודש יהיה לכם. כל מלאכה לא יעשה בהם, אך אשר יאכל לכל נפש, ולבדו יעשה לכם.
Okay. And one thing I didn't mention, so leaven in Hebrew is hamet. So hamet means anything that's fermented or leavened. Okay. So let's continue with verse 17 and 18. So, and you shall guard the festival of unleavened bread, for on this same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mizraim, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. I write it again, that is everlasting and it is forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, in the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month in the evening. Okay. Let's hear that in the Hebrew.
ושמרתם את המצות, כי בעצם היום הזה הוצאתי את צבאותיכם מארץ מצרים. ושמרתם את היום הזה לדורותיכם, חוקת עולם. בראשון ב14 יום לחודש בערב תאכלו מצות, עד יום 21 לחודש בערב.
Okay. And 19 through 20, and we just have a few more verses. So 19 through 20. For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your houses, for if anyone eats what is leavened, that same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether sojourner or native of the land. Do not eat that which is leavened. In all your dwellings you are to eat unleavened bread. So even the visitors had to avoid hamet, had to avoid leaven and eat unleavened bread. Okay, and when it says cut off, like one of the comments that I've heard is that it's like spiritually your soul is cut off from the people of Israel, but not that they would kill the person, anything like that. So let's hear 19 and 20 in the Hebrew.
שבעת ימים שאור לא יימצא בבתיכם, כי כל אוכל מחמצת, ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מעדת ישראל, בגר ובאזרח הארץ. כל מחמצת לא תאכלו, בכל מושבותיכם תאכלו מצות.
Okay, and 21 through 22. And Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go out and take land for yourself according to your clans, and slaughter the Passover lamb. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel on the two doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And you, none of you, shall go out of the door of his house until morning. 21 to 22. Let's hear that in the Hebrew.
ויקרא משה לכל זקני ישראל ויאמר עליהם, משכו וקחו לכם צאן למשפחותיכם, ושחטו הפסח, ולקחתם אגודת אזוב, וטבלתם בדם אשר בסף, והגעתם אל המשקוף ואל שתי המזוזות מן הדם אשר בסף, ואתם לא תצאו איש מפתח ביתו עד בוקר.
Okay, so very important, they had to remain inside, right? They had to remain under the covering of the blood. So that's also very symbolic how we have to remain spiritually under Yeshua to be have that protection over us. So 23 through 25. And Yahweh shall pass on to smite the Mitzrites, and shall see the blood on the lintel and the two doorposts, and Yahweh shall pass over the door, and not allow the destroyer to come into your house and to smite you. And you shall guard this word as a law for you and your sons forever. And it shall be when you come to the land which Yahweh gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard the service. Okay, so 23 through 25. Let's go ahead and hear that in the Hebrew.
ועבר אדוני לנגוף את מצרים, וראה את הדם על המשקוף ועל שתי המזוזות, ופסח אדוני על הפתח, ולא ייתן המשחית לבוא אל בתיכם לנגוף. ושמרתם את הדבר הזה לחוקלך ולבניך עד עולם. והיה כי תבואו אל הארץ, אשר ייתן אדוני לכם כאשר דיבר, ושמרתם את העבודה הזאת.
Okay. And the last part, 26 through 28. And it shall be when your children say to you, what does the service mean to you? Then you shall say, it is the Passover slaughtering of Yahweh, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mitzrites and delivered our households. And the people bowed their heads and did obedience. And the children of Israel went away and did so, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe and Aaron. So they did. Okay, 26 through 28. Let's go ahead and hear that in the Hebrew.
והיה כי יאמרו עליכם בניכם, מה העבודה הזאת לכם? ואמרתם, זבח פסח הוא לאדוני, אשר פסח על בתי בני ישראל במצרים, בנוגפו את מצרים, ואת בתינו הציל. ויקוד העם וישתחוו. וילכו ויעשו בני ישראל כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה ואהרון, כן עשו.
Okay, so we'll stop right there and then we'll continue. We'll finish chapter 12 and 13 on Friday. And so, are there any comments on what we've read?
Yes. You mentioned a few minutes ago that some people, when we do Passover, they call us legalists, and that shouldn't be done anymore. And that forever doesn't mean that we need to do it now. However, they forget that Yahweh doesn't change. His laws are forever, as he said, and that what he meant to say, it's the real thing, and that unrighteous actually the way should be translated is lawlessness or people without law. And yes, if they want to call us legalists, that means according to the legal matters, right? It's okay. But it's worse to be called lawlessness, people without law, because the whole Tanakh, the whole Bible, like people call it, it's a matter of, it's legal matters. Everything, it's legal and binding. And just like a book or the constitution on a country, and you need to obey the law, even if you don't know that that law exists. You need to know your constitution. You cannot come to the judge and say, oh, I didn't know. You're supposed to know. And in this case, we're supposed to know the constitution of the heavenly realm, which is the Bible or the scriptures. And it's, I shouldn't call it Bible because it comes from Biblos and it's bad connotation. It's better to call it the scriptures. And actually, this law or this Tanakh is going to remain forever until, you know, the time of the Shamaim, that we don't need the the constitution anymore, you know, because we will know everything. It'll be in our hearts and in our minds forever. But everything that Abba said is going to remain all the way to the end
Amen. Yes,
until the heavens pass and the earth passes away.
Amen. That's true. I was thinking also, it says in verse 26 that when your children ask you, what does this mean? That you're going to say to them, it's the Passover of Yahweh, and explain to them what it is. So if he didn't intend for this to continue throughout the generations, why would he specifically tell them to teach their children and to explain it to them? You know, so clearly here it is intended for Pesach to be celebrated for generations, continuing on. So that's another example. And like you said, we don't do it, you know, to check off the box, you know, and get points and, you know, win our salvation. That's not what we're doing it for. We're doing it as obedience to Yahweh, and because it's a parallel, right, to what Yeshua did for us, and it has great significance and meaning.
Yes, especially that, you know, because he became the Lamb of Yahweh who takes away the sin of the world. So it's a very, very significant. And one of the things that we should point out is that every Moadim is a rehearsal. So every feast is a rehearsal of the real thing, you know. And why do we rehearse? We rehearse until the real deal comes, until the real event comes back. And the feasts had not passed. And the truth is that in Isaiah, it says that those that do not come up to celebrate the feast of Sukkot during the millennium, you know, they will be, you know, cut off from the people of Abba. And not just that, they're not going to have any rain. So that's very interesting. So the feasts will continue to be celebrated. People today, they tell you, oh, we don't need to do that. That's just for Israel. Well, we are Israel. We had been grafted, you know, with the natural branches to the olive branch, which is, you know, Abba, Yahweh, and Yeshua. So if we had been grafted, then we need to um, do the things that Abba says Israel has to do because we are Israel
Amen.
as well.
Amen. Thank you. Let's go ahead and say the blessing to close.
Sure.
Okay. There you go. Okay. Baruch atah Yahweh
Yahweh,
Eloheinu
Eloheinu
melech
melech
haolam
haolam,
asher
asher
natalanu
natan
Torah emet
emet,
v'chayei
v'kayolam
olam
natan bitocheinu, Baruch
Baruch
atah
atah Yahweh
Yahweh, noten
notei haTorah.
HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Amen. Well, thank you guys. Um, and we'll continue the final part on Friday. And hope you guys have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day. Have a beautiful um, time with your family, with anyone that you encounter. Remember that you are the salt of this earth. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.